South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hi there and welcome to Headliners. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Last week marked 6 years since the mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. The emotional day ended with a glimmer of hope for 17 Parkland families whose loved ones died in the tragedy. Community members honored those killed by unveiling an unforgettable display. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward is in Parkland with a look at how their legacies are being remembered.
Families of the people that you see in these portraits want a permanent place to come and remember each one of the lives that you see here. And here, got a glimpse of their hope and dream. The build up to this day never brings comfort, but Parkland's 17 families still weeping 6 years after gunfire killed sons, daughters, and husbands at Stoneman Douglas High School. People saw a dream light up Pine Trails Park.
To know that we have a place to remember them is so important.
Alyssa Alhodeff's mom, Lori, relives her daughter's last day every day, especially February 14th, the date that brings her family, friends, and community together to remember and honor each victim. Even during moments of silence, T-shirts spoke loud and clear. I am ending violence, always an eagle, forever in our hearts. And on the back of sophomore Lorenzo Sandri, whose brother survived the Parkland shooting, the words, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it," aimed to soothe.
Whether it's just me, millions of other people going through the same thing, we're never alone. And I think that's just what we all need to remind ourselves sometimes.
Mike Mosier was in charge of first responders who tried saving every victim.
We can't forget. They deserve the honor to be eternal. And again, that's one of the reasons why I think the memorial is so important, because it's permanent.
He now chairs Parkland 17, a nonprofit collecting donations to build a permanent place to remember each victim. The group has land, and after vetting 52 artists from around the country, Parkland 17 unveiled sketches proposed by 6 finalists. They want public input to choose the best fit. Seeing it the same day the nation saw dozens hurt in a shooting in Kansas City brings Alhodef closer to a dream that feels crucial.
It breaks my heart every time I hear that there's another school shooting or another shooting somewhere. We have a problem in our country. We need to do something about it. We need to take action. It's extremely important for that memorial to come together so that we can have a place to go to reflect and just remember Alyssa and the 16 others.
Their hope is to see it happen soon. In Parkland, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
The voices of some of those victims now being heard from beyond the grave thanks to artificial intelligence. It's a project produced in part by the parents of MSD murder victim Joaquin Oliver. CBS News Miami's Joan Murray spoke with Joaquin's mother about the campaign and what it was like to almost hear his voice again.
Hello, I'm Joaquin. I was murdered at school by a shooter with an AR-15 assault rifle.
It's a startling message. Artificial intelligence has recreated the voice of Joaquin Oliver, one of 17 murdered at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School 6 years ago,
along with the voices of others who have lost their lives to gun violence.
The messages appear on a new online platform, theshotline.org. Users can send a message directly to Congress. One is from a 4th grader at Uvalde, where 19 children and 2 teachers were killed.
Go to theshotline.org to find your representative and trigger a call they can't ignore.
Drastic, not conventional at all. We think that's the only way that we could get more people involved.
Patricia Oliver is Joaquin's mother, and along with March for Our Lives, the gun reform movement sparked by MSD, they created the Shotline message.
Together, we will all call for an end to gun violence.
It hit me very deep in my heart. I can tell you that for a second, I just wished that Joaquin could be saying something more.
She and her husband Manny used artificial intelligence over 3 years ago before an election.
And nothing's changed, bro. People are still getting killed by guns.
We'd like to share some messages of the voices.
Oliver and other activists have been making the rounds in Washington, playing the message, sometimes getting a cold reception.
If you fail to act now, we'll find someone who will.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that we have to make more and more pressure We need to put pressure. We need to do something big. We need to go and protest.
Their campaign began when more gun violence gripped Super Bowl celebration parade goers in Kansas City Wednesday, the same day the Parkland massacre observances were happening.
I hope that that makes them demand to have gun laws that really could save their life in the future.
The Olivers are on their way to Michigan, where Manny Oliver will be doing his one-man show. Then they will be going around the country on their mission to end gun violence. They like to say they have nothing to lose. They've already lost everything. In Fort Lauderdale, Joan Murray, CBS News, Miami.
The 400-member Miami Beach police force will have some extra backup come spring break. This year, more state and county officers will be on the beach in an effort to stop violence on South Beach. CBS News' Manuel Bojorquez has a look at the crime crackdown.
Miami Beach is hoping to leave the shootings and unruly crowds of previous spring breaks in the past.
It'll be difficult to get here into our city, and once you get here, the expectation is you play by rules.
Newly elected Mayor Stephen Miner cites 2 deaths last year.
It's not just bad for our businesses, it's bad for our residents, it's bad for our tourists. I have a responsibility as mayor to keep everyone safe.
Over the month of March last year, there were nearly 500 arrests and more than 100 firearms seized. This year, the city's new rules for its busiest March weekends include raising some parking prices to $100, adding security checkpoints and bag checks at some beach entrances, and closing liquor stores at 8 p.m.
The thing is completely unfair.
Marcelo Avalos of Gulf Liquor says the new rules unfairly target business owners.
Because, okay, you're going to close all the liquor stores, you're going to shut it down earlier, but it's going to be in a way till you can continue to buy alcohol from other sources.
But some residents welcome the change.
This is our town, this is our front yard. Anything we can do to make crime less, to get the guns off our street, the drugs off our street, that's a good thing.
The Miami Beach police force has about 400 officers, but thousands of visitors came for spring break last year. This year, there will be more state and county officers on the streets, too. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Miami Beach.
To tip or not to tip? That is the question on a lot of people's minds basically every time we go out. See what experts are saying on the rise of tipping culture next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. South Florida has become a mecca for cosmetic surgery as people flock here from all over the country to get nipped and tucked. In some cases, it's led to botched procedures, even death. CBS News Miami's Nakaya Carrero explains the things to look out for to stay safe.
It just felt very factory-like, let's just get you in, get you out.
This woman doesn't want to share her identity. She decided she was ready for a new look by getting the popular surgery, a Brazilian butt lift, or also known as a BBL.
My number one goal was I wanted to look natural, and I didn't want to look like I had a surgery.
She lives in Texas, but set out on a journey to find the right surgeon in Miami because the surgery is so common here. But with her living out of state, the search for her doctor was done remotely, and that's when the red flag started. Most of her consultations were not even with a doctor.
Personally, I felt like in my research that a lot of doctors were more concerned with the rock star status BBLs gave them versus the actual outcome for the patient.
More than 28,000 people decided to get the body contouring surgery in 2022, a 2% increase since 2019. And while the woman who traveled from Texas found the right doctor, not everyone was as lucky. Tiara Gaucher also did not want to be on camera. She instead wants the focus of her story to be on her mother, Tanisha Walker.
Things will never be the same. Holidays, birthdays, just feel empty inside.
Tanisha traveled from Indiana to South Florida for a breast augmentation. Her original doctors told her it wasn't safe due to pre-existing conditions. That's when someone suggested her to another doctor.
She said, "Hey, Tiara." She said, "I'm here." She said, "I will call you when I'm out of surgery." I said, "Okay, Mom." I said, "I love you." She said, "I love you too." I never heard anything else from my mom.
Tiara told CBS News Miami that her mother said the new doctor told her to come in for surgery the day after she contacted him. It was their only in-person meeting. But according to her, instead of Tanisha having her breast done, the plan had changed. Her daughter telling me the new doctor performed a 360 liposuction and a BBL. According to the medical examiner, the grandmother of 11 died after the procedure. As a result, the Florida Department of Health disciplined the doctor. He was fined $10,000, had to attend a 1-hour lecture on safety and complications when it comes to a BBL, and keep a record of conducting the procedure with ultrasound technology for 6 months. Since 2019, a total of 45 people have died from complications of plastic surgery here in Miami alone. Tanisha Walker was one of them. 21 people died after she did. And despite the deaths, people are still coming here to get popular surgeries like the Brazilian butt lift.
Most of these patients are young mothers. So it's not just that one person died. This death, of course, is incredibly tragic, but it affects the children, it affects the significant others, it affects the whole family.
Dr. Pat Pazmino with Miami Aesthetics has performed plastic surgery for 20 years and is a member of the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. He told me the demand is at an all-time high as more women are inquiring about body contouring procedures.
And many times they would show up having already paid for the surgery, having someone who is not a doctor determine what procedure they were going to get. Then they would meet the surgeon 5 minutes before they were wheeled into the OR.
A total of 10 women have died from fat embolisms in Miami since 2019, a complication commonly seen post-BBL surgery.
Really investigate the doctors. Go ahead and Google the doctor, Google the address where the procedure will take place. The best thing to do is to go to a website like checkyoursurgeon.com. They can also go to the Florida Department of Health, because these resources, they list only the legitimate boards that are recognized.
And there's this advice from one patient to a potential one.
Do your best to meet with somebody in person, because that's when you really get an even greater feel of the competency of the doctor and who they are and how they're going to take care of you. Because once you're done with the surgery, their part may be finished, but you still have a long road ahead of you.
I reached out to Tanisha Walker's doctor for comment. He told me he could not due to privacy laws. Now, Dr. Pazmino also says another way to see if your doctor is the right one for you is to ask questions like, where will the surgery take place? And can it be done in a hospital? In the studio, Nikaya Carrero, CBS News, Miami.
To tip or not to tip, it's become the age-old question just about any time you go out to eat. So what should you do when the touchscreen gets turned around? CBS News Miami executive producer impacting communities Tanya Francois went to the experts to find out.
Tipflation, tip fatigue, tip culture. The idea of paying more than the bill for service is the tip etiquette many of us have grown up with.
I always tip. Depends of the service.
Well, I base that percentage off the service that I get.
If you want a tip, do you know when and how much? Well, the answer is debatable.
I didn't tip now because, you know, it's like I didn't have a waiter serve my food.
I only tip if like I'm eating at a restaurant.
Our etiquette expert says those customers are right.
If you're out at, let's say, a bagel spot and someone hands you a bagel, you don't need to tip for that. Think about it like this. If you saw a tip jar and you didn't want to leave a tip in the tip jar, it's fine.
When tipping, the options vary from 10, 15, even 20%, and sometimes even more. Shakir Benjamin says consumers have other options too.
A small Uber Eats package that isn't too large, I would say $2, $5, but $5 is the max.
Well, tipping roots are, you know, like everything else in American society, rooted in race and class, unfortunately.
Derek Smith co-owns 2 South Florida restaurants. At Smith & Webster, diners will see a service charge in addition to their gratuity.
We charge the service charge because that's an inescapable charge based on the service that we provide at the elevation that we would like to remain. So the tip is something that the guests will leave based off their service service that they receive from their server.
Smith says at his restaurants, servers get paid a livable wage. Some of that service fee goes towards it. And when it comes to fast casual restaurants with short interactions, experts offer this tip.
If you feel generous that day and you want to go ahead on and give them a tip, that's fine. But don't feel pressured or bullied to do so just because you're at a Starbucks and they turn that screen around. You can say no tip.
I think this new reality of just asking people for additional money simply because you did your job, I think that's a bit problematic and almost toxic.
Tanya Francois, CBS News, Miami.
Good to know. When we come back, public transportation taking center stage. See what lawmakers are saying on the future of the Better Bus Network in South Florida. Next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. CBS News Miami investigates your concerns. Miami-Dade's Better Bus Network is actually making things worse. Viewers reached out looking for ways to have their voices heard. The county says it's working on changes to appease passengers who are dealing with constant delays, in some cases causing them problems at work. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward is back now with the latest details.
Jennifer Wallace rides Metro buses because she has no choice. The 66-year-old grandmother who manages human resources for a company in Dadeland lost her car 20 years ago.
I couldn't afford insurance and all my car payments, so I had to start riding the bus.
Her 10-mile work commute lasted 1 hour until November.
Time frame is just horrendous.
Miami-Dade's Better Bus Network canceled 33 routes and changed 26 more, claiming it would get more people to more places that they need to go on time.
How often are you late to work because of the bus?
Almost every day.
Every day you're late?
Almost every day, yes.
How late are we talking?
When there's no school, maybe 5 minutes late. When there is school, approximately 45 to 50 minutes late every day. My employer knows about it. And I was told just do what I need to do, and as long as my work is done, they're fine with it.
Wallace came to CBS News Miami for help, so we rode to work with her. Then we met County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava moments before her State of the County address.
Mayor, are you happy with the Better Bus Network?
And pressed for answers.
We are happy that the Better Bus Network is increasing, it seems, our bus ridership.
There are still riders that are experiencing longer trips to work, some who can't get to work on time every single day. What do you say to those riders?
We've been in touch with everybody who reaches out. We help them to make sure that they can maximize their route. We're even adding jitneys to our bus routes, so we're coming up with creative ideas.
Can you call it a better system?
We're going to continue with
I do need them. Mayor, can you call the bus network better if the county is having to hire Ubers to fill in the gaps?
Anything that has changed, especially after 40 years, does take some time to accommodate. We're only 2 months after the launch of the Better Bus Network, and we are getting very favorable reviews from people who haven't used it, from people who are getting places more quickly.
19 routes see buses stop every 15 minutes. Metro had 5 such routes before November. County data shows more than half of homes without cars lie near those improved routes.
Nah, they worse, bro. Them buses suck, bro. Honestly, the routes are horrible.
Everyone hardly agrees.
Noticing like some buses get here way more often.
Florida International University has 2 new routes, 1 rapid service and 4 others with faster service.
If you're riding the 24, you're gravy, but if you're riding the 107, no.
The idea of expanding is very good to want to reduce the times for people, but seeing here in person, I'm seeing that the supposed reduction of the time, it's still like 40 minutes.
In Doral, where the 87's route did not change, we heard complaints too.
The bus was at almost 40 minutes late tonight.
Every morning, Wallace rides the first available bus to the Metro Rail.
I think it's dysfunctional. I believe that there are changes that need to be made.
Her bus used to roll east on Miller Drive to University Station, but the Better Bus changes now carries them north. We rode with Wallace through Coral Gables, past roundabouts to Douglas Station, where an hour and 15 minutes later we saw her run to catch her train. For Wallace, this is a good commute.
Miss this bus, we have to walk to 137th Avenue. And again, it's no issue when the weather is fine But when the weather is bad, that's a huge issue.
Reports of inconvenience led county officials to temporarily expand Metro Connect, a free rideshare service. They also use Uber vouchers, mostly given to riders who used routes canceled by Metro's new network. Officials say a driver shortage prevents them from adding buses, but they're hiring and working on bus network changes to be announced in April. Between now and then, the county is begging for feedback and more. In Southwest Miami-Dade, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
And now to a story that's making Miami proud. A team of student barbers giving back to those in need in a big way. They donated their time to cut hair at the Chapman Partnership Homeless Shelter in Homestead. CBS News Miami's Terry Hornstein was there, and she has more on why these haircuts mean so much.
Fresh cuts for these men and boys at Chapman Partnership Homeless Shelter in Homestead. Boys like 3-year-old Amir Ferguson, whose father is raising him and his brother on his own.
We don't usually get these kind of things like here on the outside, but in here we get everything we need for free.
South Florida barber schools partnered up with Chapman. Their students learn, and these men get a sense of normalcy and to feel good about themselves.
It feels wonderful, especially when you got to go out there and then you're a single father. I'm a single father with 2 kids.
It's family. It's a family shelter. So you'll have kids, you'll have adults, and we come out and we provide these services several times during the year.
Albert Eiras owns the barber school and says bringing his students here makes a big difference, not only for the men who get their haircut, but also for the barbers.
It's an unbelievable feeling to be able to do that for them. Like, I know a lot of guys here are going for job interviews this week. So we'll come in and we'll provide that service for them, make them look nice.
Priceless. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
And a good feeling for those walking away with a new haircut and eventually a new start.
It means a lot. I'm almost about to tear up about it. It means a whole lot to me.
When all said and done, between 50 and 80 people will have their hair cut and the confidence to go with it. In Homestead, Terry Hornstein, CBS News Miami.
Thanks for joining us this half hour on Headliners. As always, keep it right here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great one.